Jai Swaminarayan. Good morning to all. Today we will discuss about poem number 4, A Thing of Beauty for class 12. This poem was written by John Keats. So let's discuss about the poet. John Keats, born in 1795 and he was passed away in 1821, was a British romantic poet. Although trained to be a surgeon, Keats decided to devote himself wholly to poetry. Keats' secret, his power to sway and delight the readers, lies primarily in his gift for perceiving the world and living his moods and aspirations. In terms of language, the following is an excerpt from his poem Endymion. So it is a part of his poem Endymion. A poetic romance. The poem is based on a Greek legend in which Endymion, a beautiful young shepherd and poet who lived on Mount Latmos, had a vision of Cynthia, the moon goddess. Cynthia is a moon goddess. The enchanted youth resolved to seek her out and so wandered away through the forest and down under the sea. So let's start the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness, but will keep a bower quiet for us, and asleep, full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breath. Here, bower means a pleasant shady place under trees or climbing plants. So here, poet begins this poem by saying that the thing of beauty is a joy forever. It means anything we see beautiful that you have seen. It doesn't necessarily mean beauty of nature. It could have a beautiful book we have read. It could be a beautiful gesture of our friend, etc. These are things of beauty. It could be beautiful flower, it could be a sun, moon, or anything else. So, the poet says that the thing of beauty is eternal. There is no end of a thing of beauty. It is eternal. It is forever and it never fades away. Rather, it enhances with the passage of time. A bower quiet for us and asleep, full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breath. Here poet saying that the beauty acts like a relaxing, cooling shade of the trees, which helps all the living things to relax under it peacefully. So it gives us peace and shadow, both. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth, spite of despondence of the inhuman dearth of noble natures of a gloomy days. So, here poet discuss with us that every moment we have desire to live further is because we encircle ourselves with our love towards these beautiful things. And as we get wrapped up in the beautiful flowery band, this beautiful flowery band is an attachment to this lovely beautiful creation of God, so that we get reason to live further. Poet also discuss that without beauty, the earth is full of gloom and sadness. So, without beautiful things, without beautiful natures, there is no happiness on the earth. If there is not a beautiful things, the earth becomes sad. Of all the unhealthy and all darkness ways made for our searching, yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirits. There is nothing else to feel happy other than the beautiful creation of the earth. There is cruelty all around and lack of good-natured people. So, if there is beauty, there is happiness in the world. It is that beauty, the creation of God Almighty, which removes the sadness and darkness of this world from our mind and soul. So it becomes a good spirit we feel a good spirit around us because of these beautiful things. Such the sun, the moon, trees, old and young sprouting, a shady boon for simple sheep. Here, poet expresses beautiful creation of God, and he names save of the things whose beauty is eternal. The sun, moon, greenery. Greenery means trees, whose shade is a boon for creatures like the sheep to rest under it. Here, poet indicate sheep as a living being. So, in the shadow of trees, we feel peace under it, and a beautiful things which are inspired us a lot, like the sun, the moon, which are eternal, which are become old and young, small plants, big trees, etc. But the trees which are sprouting, it gives us shadow, and it is boon for us, for all the living beings. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling convert make gainst the hot season. Here, rills means stream of running water. So, the poet says that in this line, the poet trying to tell us that the daffodils have a lot of greenery in them. They gives us a lot of color and make the world so vibrant, so beautiful. The clear flowing streams of water are very cooling and help us cool in this hot summer season. So by this cooling, the poet gives us an example of daffodil, that daffodil have a lot of greenery and it converts into a colorful way. These rails means these streams convert the hot summer season into a coolness. The mid forest break, rich with the sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the domes we have imagined for the mighty dead. Here, grandeur means so as to impress, and dome means last day of existence. So, here in this line, poet says that other than the natural creation, the natural beauty, the stories of brave men who sacrificed their lives for the generation to come. So, this story of their blooms are very grateful. So, the story of brave men is also beautiful. All lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink pouring into us from the heavens brink. This line suggests the beautiful things which are made by the God are like an endless fountain. They are like a nectar which falls upon the humanity, on the immortal things, are so precious that they give us life, a meaning to living our life happily. So, this endless fountain, immortal drink, these all things gives us a real meaning to live our life happily. So in this poem, poet describe about the beautiful nature, the thing of beauty, means a nature which gives us many things so that we can live happily, we can feel good, and we can get a positive energy through such type of things. So by the sun, moon, he also gives an example of tree, fountain. These all things which are eternal, which never ends. It gives us a true meaning to live a life happily. So here the poem is finished, and let's discuss about the literary devices. So in this poem, rhyme scheme is used. Here in this poem, rhyme words like forever, ever, breathe, wreath, days, ways, moon, boon, make, break, dead, read, keep, sleep, earth, dearth, all, pal, daffodils, rails, blooms, domes, drink and bring. This type of words are used here. So, this type of rhyme words are used in this poem. In this poem, figures of speech is used. Here, alliteration. First, we will discuss about first figures of speech is alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of an initial consonant sound. So here, a consonant sound repeated in one line. In this poem, as sound is repeated in this line, above are quiet for us and asleep full of sweet dreams. Sleep and sweet. So, in the beginning of these words, as sound is used. B sound is repeated in this line, a flowery band to bind us to the earth. So, band and bind, in both the words, B sound is repeated. S sound is repeated in some shape of beauty moves away the pale. Trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple sheep. So here, some, shape, sprouting, shady, simple and sheep. In these words, S sound is repeated in the beginning of the word. C sound is repeated, that for them shall a cooling convert make. So here, in cooling and convert, in both words, C sound is repeated in the beginning of the line. H sound is repeated, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. So here in this line, have heard. H sound is repeated in the beginning of the words. So, C sound is repeated, that for them shall a cooling convert make. So here, in cooling and convert, in both these words, C sound is repeated in the beginning of the words. H sound is also repeated, all lovely tales that we have heard or read. So here, in these words, have and heard, H sound is repeated in the beginning of these words. So this type of consonants used in these lines. Second figures of speech is anaphora. Anaphora means the repetition of the same word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses or verses. So, in this poem, of noble natures, of the gloomy days, and of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways. In this both line, of is used in the beginning of the lines. So, it called anaphora. Third figures of speech is metaphor. Metaphor means an implied comparison between two dissimilar things that have something in common. So, this figures of speech is used in this line, above are quiet for us and asleep, a flowery band to bind us to the earth, an endless fountain of immortal drink. In these three lines, metaphor is used, which gives us eternal happiness. Another figures of speech is oxymoron. Oxymoron means a figures of speech in which incongruous or contradictory terms appear side by side. So, it means opposite words are used side by side. So, it is used in this line. We have imagined for the mighty date. So, this both mighty and date, God gives us life and date. So, opposite words are used here. And our last figures of speech is imaginary. It means in literature, one of the strongest devices is imaginary, wherein the author or poet uses words and phrases to create mental images for the reader. Imagery helps the reader to visualize more realistically the author's writing. So, by this, we can imagine in our mind something which author or poet wants to tell us or discuss with us. So here, in this poem, in these lines, imaginary is used. Trees old and young sprouting a shady boon. And trees grows old and young, but it gives us shadow and it is boon for us. So we imagined that in trees under shadow we feel peace. In second line, for simple sheep and such are daffodils with the green world they live in and clear rills. So poet gives an example of sheep which is used for all the living beings and daffodils also, which converted our life in greenery world in which the daffodils lives. So in both the humanity, for every human beings, this example is used. So here poet gives example of sheep and daffodils through which we have to feel happiness in our life. Here our poem is over. Thank you.